You look on a map, you look at the northern hemisphere, and all the great grain belts of the world are intersected by 48-degree latitude.
There are some verses where he talks about humanity falling into cannibalism because of the lack of food around the world.
Famine is the most dangerous threat to all of us in all prophecies of dire nature. The way you buy it in the doomsday is through hunger.
Famine is not the only threat that Nostradamus and a variety of ancient cultures are said to predict. It is believed that, like the Mayans, the Egyptians build warnings into their religious buildings, and some even theorize their once thriving civilization may have fallen prey to a catastrophe similar to ones that Nostradamus describes. Are the Egyptians cautioning us about the coming peril in our future? The pyramids of Egypt and the writings of Nostradamus may hold the key. The Lost Book of Nostradamus highlights an era when prophecy and astronomy converge in a manner that literally changes the world. One of the most striking images from this remarkable book speaks of an impending apocalypse, and some see its symbols as a warning.
What really triggers the whole thing is the 3 eclipsed moons. There's going to be 3 eclipses in 2012. Very unusual. There's going to be a total eclipse of the sun. There's going to be the eclipse of Venus against the sun. And then there's the grand eclipse of the ages, the eclipse of the sun and the center of the galaxy. This whole thing is going to culminate in 2012, is what Nostradamus is saying.
Interpreters believe that the spiral shape at the head of the scorpion in this drawing is a direct reference to the spiral shape of the Milky Way galaxy.
No one in the mid-1600s knew, supposedly, that we had a galaxy, much less that it was a spiral galaxy. And yet, the Lost Book manuscript shows just that image.
Nostradamus believes that the stars and planets hold the meaning of life. This is also at the core of Egyptian philosophy, and they incorporate these celestial designs into their most important structures. Nostradamus foresees the destruction of these monuments in his writings.
Atop the summit, fractures will appear. The lightning will shatter the stones. 3 withered chains bound up around the middle.
Does the phrase, "lightning will shatter the stones," mean the pyramids of Giza will be destroyed at a future date? Some researchers believe that the layout of the Egyptian pyramids points to future planetary shifts and perhaps to the galactic alignment itself.
There's really no doubt that someone went to a great deal of effort to make the pyramids on Giza and even other pyramids in the general group correspond to alignments of stars to make sure that these large culture-defining monuments matched events in the sky.
Some experts theorize that the pyramids were built to precisely match the 3 stars that make up the belt of the constellation Orion, also known as the Hunter, or the Wise Man.
Orion is the key player. The way they joined up the dots, almost without exception in all the ancient cultures, was as a man standing with his arms raised and his legs apart, and he's wearing a belt studded with 3 different stars, the belt stars of Orion.
These researchers claim that the Egyptians are pointing to Orion because it marks the halfway point of the 26,000-year circle the sun makes between galactic alignments. This proves, they say, that the ancient Egyptians also recognized the pivotal importance of this celestial event.
The fact that the monuments are aligned with their celestial counterparts for the time in the history when they were present in the sky above Giza tells us that whoever built those monuments understood that movement. And this particular alignment for the three pyramids and through the Sphinx was exactly 1/2 of this 26,000-year cycle that we're now experiencing.
The Sphinx, along with the entire Giza complex, can then be viewed as pointing to the coming galactic alignment.
Our ancestors clearly understood the movement of Earth through the heavens, the movement of our solar system through the galaxy, and the changes, the cyclic changes that we could expect as that movement reached certain milestones. And it appears that one of those is upon us in this time, right now.
The Egyptians were one of the world's first superpowers. Their possible fears of coming disaster could very well have disturbing similarities to our own time.
The government of Egypt was investing so much money fighting wars that they went broke. There were strikes among the workers because there were no wages, because the weather patterns changed. The crops weren't growing the way they had in the past. There were food shortages. And all of these things contributed to the collapse of one of the greatest civilizations in the history of our planet. So we can certainly draw parallels between what happened to that civilization and what we're seeing now.
We're lifting the veil on a very esoteric subject that not that many hundreds of years ago in the West, if you actually talked about it and expounded it and said, oh, I know when the end of the world's going to happen, you would be let off and burned at the stake. So this is dangerous knowledge. This is very significant knowledge that only now can we actually talk about openly.
Nostradamus also fears repercussions for his dark predictions and cloaks them in 4-line poems called quatrains. Like the Egyptians before him, he reads the stars like a road map and tries to glean details regarding the end of days.
Conjoined here in the sky manifested, it enters, little rain. The sky and earth dries, undone, death, caught. Arrived at a bad hour.
Like the Egyptians, Nostradamus believes that messages about the future are written in the heavens. Researchers point to this Nostradamus prediction as a metaphorical warning about the potential weakening of the Earth's magnetic field.
The Earth's magnetic field is in the process of changing and perhaps weakening in spots and showing its vulnerabilities. And anybody who's ever watched Star Trek, you know, the shields are down, bad.
When the magnetic fields are strong, they deflect the solar wind that is coming from our sun and the incoming particles from the universe beyond. And when those fields are weak, they have less ability to do that, meaning that more solar influence reaches the Earth, heats up the atmosphere of the Earth, as correlated now with melting the ice caps, the increase in the sea level.
As the Earth's magnetic field wears down, the Earth is left open to a frightening array of problems.
If the magnetic fields of the Earth were to collapse to zero and go through reversal, with a planet of 6 billion people based in computer technology, GPS satellites, our way of life would change dramatically.
A magnetic pole reversal could mean that the south and north poles would switch their magnetic charges. Some believe the resulting interference would be extremely disruptive to all the signals that our modern society sends through the sky.
What we would see down here on Earth would be a major collapse of all electronic communications. Our communication satellites would go down, our cell phones would no longer work. Anything that had to communicate through or work on an electromagnetic field would collapse.
Nostradamus also believes that he has found a clue to the timing of this potential disaster. It ties in perfectly with the images of the lost book.
there will be a solar eclipse more dark and